Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Nurhalidah, and today I want to presentation the subject of Introduction to Discourse Analysis, the material about discourse analysis and linguistics. Discourse analysis and linguistics has 9 of subtitle. The first is discourse analysis and linguistics. The second is cohesion and texture. Third is discourse markers, consists of language, meaning, and content. And the fourth, discourse and semantics. And 5, discourse and relevance theory. 6, discourse and information structure. 7, historical discourse analysis. And 8, typology and discourse analysis. And 9, register variation, a corpus approach. Let's start the presentation. For the first is discourse analysis and linguistics. In discourse analysis and linguistics has intonation and discourse. For the first is looking back. In the looking back, at that time most linguists felt that it's possible to have language without intonation, therefore to do linguistics without it. In fact, some even thought it imperative to think of intonation, like phonetics, as being outside of language. And then looking at now, as in general, in the intonation as grammar approach, the term discourse is used as the grounds that test sentences are read out in context as follow-ups to prior sentences which are said to provide a discourse context for the interpretation in questions. Next is looking ahead. Onset level. Onset level of an intonation phrase in English is defined as the first pitch accent in the phrase, and then register defined as the relative position of intonation phrase within a speaker's overall voice range. And then looking for ahead, it will very likely turn out to be a prosodic contextualization to like intonation and timing, which is locally invoked and strategically deployed both within and across speaking turns. And then next material about cohesion and texture. For the first cohesion can be defined as the set of researcher for constructive relations in discourse which transcend grammatical structure. And then next is discourse semantics. From the perspective of grammar, cohesion was positioned as a set non-constructural researcher in the textual metafunction. And the next is modeling social context, like in the concept of register and genre. And to this point, we have considered cohesive researchers in relation to other aspects of text organizations, and then contributions such as texture makes to our sense that a text hangs together in coherence. Next is cohesion, texture, and coherence. Cohesion can be recontextualized as discourse, semantics, identification, negotiation, conjunction, and ideation. And texture was briefly reviewed, drawing attention to work patterns of interaction among discourse semantic, lexical-grammatical, and phonological system. And then for the coherence, for the perspective of social context, suggesting the texture is motivated by tenor, file, and mode, and the way in which genre pairs these register variables together into a trajectory of meanings that naturalize a reading position for readers or listeners. And next is for the third discourse makers three perspective. For the first is markers and cohesion, based primarily on written text, include words like and, but, because, I mean, by the way, to sum up. And then the markers of the discourse define this discourse make markers as quantitatively defined elements that bracket unit of thought. And then for the markers and pragmatics, it is conveyed by three different set of pragmatic makers: basic pragmatic makers, commentary pragmatic makers, and parallel pragmatic markers. And for the first material is discourse and semantics. The shifting paradigm some basic notions of semantic theory have been recognized to be discourse phenomena from their very introduction into considerations of linguistic meaning, and then indexicality and anaphora. Indexicality or deis is the only area of meaning universally acknowledged to belong in the area of discourse or pragmatics, since it pertains to the contextual determination of reference which necessarily precedes a decision as the threat of facility of the assertions. And then presupposition is also at heart a discourse or pragmatic notion, since the knowledge and the beliefs of the speakers and the audience about things in the word area crucial in determining whether a sentence like a classic. And then next is speech acts. A performative utterance as a apparent declarative sentence with no third functional meaning as such, but instead with some illocutionary potential. Semantic theory has recognized for performatives a special discourse-based type of meaning. And the next is entailment. Areas of meaning like entailment divide less obviously into third functional semantic versus discourse areas. And the next is interpersonal meaning. The poetics of natural conversation, particularly the synonym, antonym, and punning relation between words close to each other in conversations. And the next is figurative language. The figurative meaning of hyperbole, irony, and same metaphors has sometimes also been seen as context-bound, though early attempts to describe metaphor often remain solidly within sentence semantic proper. And the next is metalingual perspective of figurative meaning. Metalingual talk allows conversationalists to focus on the appropriateness of a word or turn of phrase. And next, for 5, material, discourse, and relevance theory. This is a content of coherence and discourse. According to Zella Harris, 1951, discourse is a structure unit which can be studied by analogy with the sentence. According to Salke, 1995, suggests that while grammar is basically about how words combine to form sentence, text and discourse analysis is about how sentence combine to form text. And then is relevance and coherence. In approaches which view discourse in terms of communicative behavior, the aim is to discover the social confusions which determine which utterance may occur and what they may be combined with. And then next is the reassessment of coherence relations. Principle of relevance is based on the hearer's recognitions. There is an act of ostensive communication. There is an act of deliberate over communications in which the speaker not only intends to convey the particular message but is also actively helping the hearer recognize this. And then next is implication to discourse understanding. Sequence. Carton 1993 analyzed the days sequence is correct. Thus, a relation are a sequence of the way in which the hearer of this utterance used contextual information to develop the linguistically determined semantic representation into a proposition which can achieve optimal relevance. And next is explanation. Since the hearer has recognized that this is how utterance achieve relevance, there is no justification for recovering an information that is stand in a particular coherence relations. Next is implication for discourse understanding. Discourse coherence provide the key to a theory to discourse comprehension and have shown how in a relevant theoretic framework, hearers' intuition about coherence can be explained as a sequence of the hearer's search for an interpretation that is consistent with the principle of relevance. And next is for 6 material about discourse and information structure. New to discourse versus new to the hearer. Prince 1992 offers a pair of cross-cutting dichotomies which classify information as, on the one hand, either discourse old or discourse now, and on the other hand, either hearer old or hearer new. And then linking relation, the link within an utterance in the linguistic material representing information which stand in the contextually listens pose relation with information avoid in the inferable from the prior context and serve as a point connection between the information present in the current utterance and the prior context. And next is preposing. The preposed constituent on focus preposing contains the focus on the utterance and bears nuclear accent. The rest on the clause is typically descended. And then next is postposing. Postposing. The term postposing denotes any construction in which a lexically governed phrasal constituent appears to the right of its colonial position, typically but not exclusively in sentence final position, leaving in colonial position either empty or else. And next about argument reversal. Well, reversing involves the non-canonical leftward placement of a constituent, and postposing involves the non-canonical rightward placement of a constituent argument. Reversal incorporates both. And then next is inversion. In inversion, the logical subject appears the postverbal position while some others, canonically postverbal constituent appears in preverbal position. Birner 1994. And then passivation, like inversion, English by passivers reverse the canonical order of two constituents, and like inversion, they are also constrained programmatically in that the syntactic subject must not represent newer information with the discourse than does the NP in the by praise. Birner 1996. Left dislocation is superphysically similar to reposing, but in left dislocation, correspondingly pronoun appears in the marker's constituents canonical position. Left dislocation is also functionally distinct from preposing. And next is right dislocation. Like essential and representational, their insertion, right dislocation, involves the non-canonical placement and argument of the verb in postverbal position. And then next material about historical discourse analysis. Historical stage of a language often contain apparently meaningless word and particles, empty or repetitive phrase, inexplicable morphological forms and use of inflectional forms, seemingly primitive, stylistic, future and uncategorizable or odd text type. While traditionally many of these features have been viewed as grammatical pleonasm, material expedience, intensivers, and emphatic colloquialism or a defect or style, it has provided fruitful in recent years to examine these features using the tools of modern discourse analysis. In heuristical discourse analysis, perhaps the most attention has been paid to what Lagrange term mystery particles. There is to the verbal and nominal affix and sensual particles. Continue to define analysis even at the relative advanced stage of research. In contemporary discourse analysis, mystery particles are more typically termed discourse markers or pragmatic markers and include such forms as well now, so, and modern English. In modern English. And then next material 8, typology and discourse analysis. A, problems of typological discourse analysis. The problem for typological discourse analysis as compared with more traditional discourse analysis is the degree of familiarity of the researchers with the language to be analyzed. And then B, universal systems of classifications of discourse function. The use of such text count does not suggest that speakers themselves go through any calculation similar to those of the linguist, nor does it imply that a given text count score will predict with 100% accuracy which construction will be used on each occasion. And then C, translation data. Translation provide another means of comparing discourse functions in different language. It is useful in that it gives some idea of the functional similarity or a difference between construction in the different language. And then the last material 9, register variation, a corpus approach. For a register perspective on traditional linguistic investigation. In general, any function description of a linguistic feature will not be valid for the language as a whole. Rather, characteristics of the textual environment interact with register difference, so that strong patterns of use in one register often represent only weak patterns in other registers. Number 1, register variation in lexical description. It is easy to demonstrate the importance to register variation for lexical analysis by constructing the use of near synonymous words. For example, one big, large, or great. And then the second is register variation in grammatical descriptions. Similar to lexical analysis, investigation of grammatical features require a register perspective to fully describe the actual patterns of use. Most grammatical features are distributed in very different ways across register. And then B, register comparisons, a major issue for discourse study since the early 19th century, concerning the relationship between spoken and written language. Early research on this question tend to make global generalization about the linguistic differences between speech and writing. For the first overview of the multidimensional approach to register variation, the MD approach to register variation was developed to provide comprehensive description of the patterns of register variation in a language. An MD analysis includes two major components. One, identification of the underlying linguistic parameters or dimension, and then variation. The second, specification of linguistic similarities and differences among registers with respect to those dimensions. And then second is comparison of the major oral or literate dimension in English, Korean, and Somali. The MD methodological approach outlined in the last section has been applied to the analysis register variation in English, Korean, Somali. Bieber 1995 provides a full description of the corpora, computational and statistical techniques. Linguistic features analyze the multidimensional patterns of the register variation for each of these language. And then the third is register variation in more specialist domains. The above discussion, the register variation has focused on comparison between broadly defined spoken and written register across language. In addition, MD analysis has also been applied to more specialized domain. Okay, that's all my presentation for today. I really apologize if I have a mistake in my word or my pronunciation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.